Listeners, you are listening to Bon Adams Legal Show on Radio Seerah. You can tune in on 1575, and if you want to ring and ask any question, you can ring 0116-384-8786, or you can WhatsApp us on 0305 828 and then we'll try to answer the queries. And before going on a break, we were discussing about spouse applications and how these things can, if thing goes wrong, and then you end up, instead of not only wasting your money, but also spending a lot of time. I have dealt with cases ages ago where the person wasn't ready to wait for 3 months and to comply with the requirements, and then he ended up doing 2 applications plus appeal, and then it took 3 years for his spouse to come from India. So it's better like to have patience and then get things right at the first time, rather than going into appeal, spending more money, spending more time. I know it's very sometimes it's very pressurizing from family point of view, from your spouses, but again, it's not worth taking that risk and putting your money and time at risk. So it's better to take legal advice. We at Bon Adam Solicitors, we have a full-fledged team of immigration team who deals with a lot of different areas of law: personal immigration, business immigration, and all these other kind of work which is criminal. Apart from criminal, we do everything. We do litigation, we do property. It's very, at the moment, busy. Our property team have bases on Effingham Road and on London Road in Leicester, and then we also have clients from Birmingham and Aldershot offices about properties. Again, litigation departments is headed by our senior partner, Mr. Rafiq Daud Patel, and he is the head of the principal solicitor and head of litigation department. We have very strong team who deals with debt recoveries, litigation, any claims like disputes and business disputes, mergers and acquisitions and stuff like that. And we have also deal with employment, family law. We have very good team in family law based in our Soho Road at Birmingham and at London Road in Leicester. So they would deal with all kind of family matters, divorces, child contracts and stuff like that. So if you have any query, you can contact us on Bon Adams. Our offices, our main switch number is 0116-285-8080, or you can email us on lawyers@bonadams.com. So now, Geet, what the next hot topic of the day?
Now, recently we've been getting a lot of inquiries on sponsorship license applications.
Yes, at the moment this becomes very selling like hot cake at the moment.
Yes.
Everybody, especially in Leicester, we are very industrial-based city, and lot of textile businesses, restaurant businesses owned by people who deals with very special kind of skills, and then they need skilled workers to come and work for them, like Indian curry chefs. Whenever I have a lot of queries from restaurants where they want to have this Indian curry chef, but a lot of, when they advertise the job, they get mostly without going into sound very discriminatory, but they are very different, Indo-Chinese or very different kind of English kind of foods, which is good, and we have that market as well. But on the other hand, we have market which is mostly like the Indian curries. So what kind of queries you getting from sponsorship license?
First of all, can any company apply for a license?
Yes, that's very important question. Yes, any company can apply for sponsorship license. There's criteria they have to meet. If the companies, even some people are scared to apply for a sponsorship license if they started business just recently. However, there is no restriction from Home Office as long as they can satisfy Home Office that their business is genuine, they try to recruit somebody. There is a genuineness test they have to meet, that they put all the efforts to find somebody locally who settled in the UK to employ and do their work. But if they couldn't find any appropriate person to do that skilled job, they need to then the only option they have left with is to apply to bring this skilled worker from abroad. It can be from any part of the world. So people normally think this only can bring from certain certain countries, but they can bring people like IT people from America, Australia, Canada, and they can bring all these chefs like Indo-Pak or Indo Chinese chefs from any part of the world, maybe China, maybe from Asia. So it depends on their business needs, what they need, and whether they can find the appropriate level of skilled worker from within the UK. If they can't, then they can apply for a sponsorship license.
Okay. One of the other things that I get that we get our inquiries on is how long does a company have to trade before they can actually even think about applying for a license? Some people do tend to confuse. There's concept of 1 year, 2 year. How long does a company have to trade?
All right, that's a very interesting question as well. So most of the time I get that query as well. There's no hard and fast rule. So as long as company is trading and they have all the they stood on the legs, they can apply for a license. But ideally, if it's like Home Office has a window from 0 to 6, and then 6 months, 6 months and 6 months to 12 months, and then so on. But if the company have a standing of 3 years plus, they are more likely to get a license, because Home Office sees them as a more reliable and more durable company, like no duration for a company to run their business. And if they want to apply for sponsorship license, they will get edge on the other people, other companies which just recently started their business, and as soon as they started the business, they they cannot find somebody suitable to run that business. So again, if it's in for example, if it's an IT company, of course there is shortage of IT people in skilled workers in UK, especially after Brexit. The economy and the skilled workers and the labor market have suffered a lot, where even the UK government have put so many measures to address this shortage of labor in many sectors. Let me remember that we had a shortage of drivers couple of last year or year before, where there was a shortage of drivers to supply the goods to different departmental stores, and then they started recruiting people. They even have a very short term visas to various European countries citizens, where they can come and then fill that gap, and then they can, if they want to continue, they can. But if most of people, like, there was no settlement scheme, settlement route available at that time, so most of the people actually did not wanted to come just to cover that very short period of gap, 3-4 months. So there's no restriction on the duration, how long the company is working. As long as company is trading and they are finding difficulties to run their business smoothly, they can apply for sponsorship license.
Okay, you earlier mentioned about the genuineness test of finding an employee within the UK. Are there any other requirements which people need to bear in mind?
Yes, they have to see that their business is growing, and they have a good staffing HR system, where they know what are the whether their staff are turning up, what their turn up of the staff quality, and then they need to have a system where they can see whether the people who are non-settled, how they keep record when their visa is expiring, because this is very, very dangerous, become very dangerous for employers if they unknowingly had been employed somebody whose visa run out, or they were employed and their visa run out. Although the Home Office they can raise some statutory excuses, but they can end up having been and liable to civil penalty of 15,000 to 20,000 pound um, per employer per employee just by ignoring when their visa is expiring, and then they end up employing somebody who is illegal in this country. So this is very important that you have very strong HR system where they can put a record when somebody's visa is expiring, and then they can chase the employee to apply for the extension, or give them any update on what kind of application he has put with the Home Office. So this is another requirement. So to have a record of all the employees, when especially when who are non-settled in the UK. And then they have of course they have other requirements like bank statement, employers liability insurance, very important that you need to have. And it also depends how strong financially the company is. So they will see that as if the company just started recently doing very good progress in their profession, they actually give them some kind of discount or a concession to apply for sponsorship license sooner than later if they are struggling with this staff. And then how the system evolved, there has been a lot of changes since old regime pre 2020 2012 immigration rules, and now even since 2 years the Home Office has replace the labor market test, which in olden days all the employers has to do before they can employ a worker to do a job for them. Now they have been replaced that with this, as you mentioned earlier, with the genuineness test. Genuineness test is what are the measurements, what are the steps you have taken to find a suitable person within the UK. Maybe it could be a job advertisement, maybe it could be a advertisement on social media, maybe on radio, anywhere. So these are the things they will look into that, and then what are the responses, why you couldn't find anybody locally, and then if there's people applied, what are the reasons why you couldn't employ them. So these are the things which need to look at before you think about making these sponsorship license applications.
That's fine, thank you, Manava. Is the whole process quite simple? Are there any interviews involved, or is this an online application? What is the whole process?
The application itself is online, yes, and then you can interviews normally. Now, because of COVID, there was no interviews going on at that time because the COVID restrictions and all these things. Home Office was under tremendous pressure because of like at that time. Because of staffing, people working from home, so there was no interviews conducted. Normally what happens, if you apply for a license and then you have you're new in the business, then of course there are more chances that Home Office will conduct interview. Normally they give prior notice that they want to come and visit the site or business, and what they want to see is compliance procedure. So how you keep record of your employees, what your employer is going to be doing, and then there is a something called SOC code, which is a standard occupational classification course for each job, which means that what the job they're going to do, what are their duties, whether they're qualified to do that kind of job. That's kind of things they're going to ask, like say for example, what are the job summary of a chef, and what are the job summaries of an IT engineer, or what are the job descriptions of any other skilled worker the company wish to employ.
Okay.
I think we've been told that we need to go for a short break. You're listening to Radio Seerah, and this is Bon Adams Legal Show. And if you just tuned in, just stay with us, and then we will be back shortly after the commercial break.